This offensive scheme has a little bit of everything. Multiple tight ends, physical, downhill, play action pass, whether it's RPO, whether it's inside zone, outside zone. We run everything under the sun. It's going to be something to behold once we're rolling.
The Chargers want to run the ball, and that is no secret if you have been paying attention since Jim Harbaugh took over. Pop quiz: in order to run the ball, what do you need? Well, you need two different things. The first thing you need is a good offensive line, which the Chargers are in the process of building right now, especially after drafting Joe Alt, but you also need some good running backs. The Chargers, they signed both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins in free agency, but they've both been held out of some practices at OTAs, and it got me worried a little bit because even though I doubt that they are both injured, and they're probably just getting some veteran rest, I started thinking about this running back room, and even if just one of those two guys go down, it could derail the run game, and there are some free agent running backs still available that I think could be had for very, very cheap that would fit this team pretty well. And keep in mind that the Chargers still don't have 90 players signed heading into training camp, so they're bound to sign some more free agents to get to that number. I think right now they have one or maybe two spots open because they did just release Corey Linsley, and he is expected to retire after his injury last season. Now, Corey Linsley was like the best center the Chargers have had since Nick Hardwick, and he didn't allow a single sack since 2020. Now that Nick Hardwick is coaching for the Chargers, hopefully he can coach up some of those young guys like Jordan McFadden or Bucky Williams, the undrafted free agent, to develop into a nice center for the future once Bradley Bozeman is gone. But the point is, the Chargers, they are going to definitely be signing one or maybe two guys in order to hit that 90-man roster limit before training camp starts later this summer. Now, I think that it would be smart to add some depth to this running back room because, like I said earlier, man, both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, they have injury histories. That's why I was so concerned that they were not playing in OTAs, even though I hope it is just veteran rest. But the guys behind those two right now are Kimani Vidal or Vidal, I don't know exactly how you pronounce it, Isaiah Spiller, and Elijah Dotson. Now, Kimani Vidal is a great running back, and I would expect him to come into the NFL right away and have success. I mean, if you watched my videos for a while now, you know how highly I think of that guy. He is really, really good. Isaiah Spiller, he is a player who's playing well right now in the absence of both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins in OTAs, but you know, the pads are off right now, and we shouldn't rely on Isaiah Spiller to take a huge leap this year, because if he doesn't and one of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins get injured, then we're going to be relying on our 6th round rookie running back to really handle a lot of the load. And the Chargers constantly want to add depth and competitors to this team, and I think the running back room is a great position to add to right now because Isaiah Spiller, Elijah Dotson, and yes, even Kimani Vidal, who I love, they are all unproven players at this point in their career. The guys ahead of them, they are susceptible to injury. And on top of all of that, you always want to have a stable of good running backs because this offense is going to be a running back by committee approach with several different guys getting multiple touches per game. So even though the running back room right now, we got 5 different guys that all have good traits and reasons to believe in them, it's easy to see why this position could become a weakness during the season. And Joe Ortiz, man, he has done a very good job thus far of getting ahead of problems before they actually become problems. And plus, with the emphasis on the run game, like, you want to do everything possible in order to maximize the run game. So who could the Chargers add right now in free agency at the running back position? Here are all the running backs, and you know, the only name on this list that I would want to sign is Kareem Hunt. Now, Kareem Hunt, he is a downhill runner that also has some surprisingly good lateral agility. He's not a burner since he ran a 4.62 coming out of Toledo, and he's going to be 29 years old once the season begins, so he's probably lost even a little bit of that speed that he had before. But he has the ability to make guys miss as well as just like run straight over guys to get some extra yardage. He has 211 missed tackles forced over his career and 126 explosive runs, which is a run over 10 yards. He also has receiving ability with 236 catches throughout his career and only 16 drops. Now, he also has the ability to block for his quarterback on third downs when he's in the backfield, with only 5 sacks allowed on 270 pass blocking snaps. Now, that stat is even more impressive when you take into account that he allowed 3 sacks in his rookie season with the Chiefs. So since his rookie year, he's only allowed 2 sacks when asked to block in the backfield. Kareem Hunt, he isn't a bell cow by any means, and he really shouldn't be, but he was in the backfield with Nick Chubb these last few seasons for the Browns and was able to be very productive for them when he was called upon. Kareem Hunt is most productive when rushing up the A-gap. As you can see from this stat right here, ML and MR is the middle left and the middle right side of the center. Kareem Hunt, he has like basically everything that you want. He is reliable in the pass game, a solid runner that can make guys miss, and he can plow through defenders between the tackles. He can block for his quarterback, and he doesn't fumble the ball like basically at all. He is very reliable. He has only 4 fumbles in his entire career on over 1,000 carries. And he's constantly graded by PFF as one of the best running backs in terms of the fumble grades. Now, if you sign Kareem Hunt, you are just getting a solid player. He's not going to be flashy, but he will do what is asked of him. And to me, that sounds like a Harbaugh style of player to me, and it would be very cheap. Obviously, it's not going to count against the comp pick formula because, you know, we're well after the draft, and it would build depth in this running back room and add security in case of injury. It would be a nice veteran presence as well. Now, the argument against Kareem Hunt is, well, to be blunt, the off the field issues that he had with the Chiefs. Like, he's been in legal trouble, to say the least, and the Chargers, they've historically been pretty reluctant to have players on their roster that have a bad history like that. But with Jim Harbaugh and this whole new regime, really, like, do they take chances on guys like that right now? With the huge emphasis on this new culture that Jim Harbaugh is like bringing in, I think that they might take a chance on a guy like that. But honestly, that's just something that we're going to have to wait and see because nobody really knows for sure. And then the other issue with Kareem Hunt is basically like, if J.K. Dobbins is the guy that goes down due to injury, Kareem Hunt's not going to be able to replicate what you're losing out on offense with J.K. Dobbins out. But honestly, like, nobody in this free agent market can replicate that. And in the event of a J.K. Dobbins injury, you knock on freaking wood right now, but in the event that he does get injured, I think the best way to replicate what he brings to this offense would be with Kimani Vidal, and then after that, Elijah Dotson if he makes the team. Now, lastly, Joshua Kelley is still a free agent, and we are all very familiar with his game. I wouldn't rule out a possible reunion with him if there was an injury in this backfield, but Joshua Kelley, like, he's basically what Kareem Hunt is, honestly, but just not as polished. He's almost the same exact size and speed. Doesn't really make guys miss as often as Kareem, though. He's not as good of a receiver as Kareem Hunt is, and he also fumbles the ball more. Like Joshua Kelley, he is 3 years younger, and let's just be honest, he's probably much more of a high character guy. He's a very nice guy, Joshua Kelley is, but in my opinion, if you're going to go out and get a running back right now at this point, I think it's got to be Kareem Hunt. Let me know if you guys want the Chargers to sign Kareem Hunt, or if you're just fine with this backfield the way that it is right now. And then if somebody gets injured, then you make a move. Or maybe you just don't even want to see someone get signed because you have so much confidence in the guys behind Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Let me know. But the battle at running back heading into training camp, as of right now, this is what it's looking like.